As per the video, and my understanding, an organization's culture is defined by its artifacts, its values and beliefs, and underlying assumptions. When thinking about who and what makes my organization what it is, I can confidently say that it is the people. As part of the Florida Air National Guard, I work with people from all occupations of life, all walks of life. I work alongside nurses, I work alongside full-time college students, I work alongside engineers, and real-life cops, sheriffs, business owners, and there's a long list of people I work with. As civilians, we've all come together, donned the military uniform, and we have answered our nation's call. One of the underlying assumptions that we have as part of the Guard is the good old buddy system. That's part of our culture, whether we like it or not, and there is a logic to it. So in the Guard unit, people don't PCS every 2 to 3 years as compared to the active duty component. A lot of times we have people coming straight out of high school and they have their entire Air National Guard career completely outside of active duty. So we call these people Guard babies. They haven't seen a day of active duty in their life, but at the same time, it's who they are. They work as a civilian somewhere off base, and they come 1 week in a month, 2 weeks a year to fulfill their military commitments. So we have that aspect where, compared to active duty, people PCS every 2 to 3 years. So when it comes to leadership, grooming this high school kid, they instill their values, their beliefs. We have a Guard culture. Now, when we have that in comparison to an active duty person, the active duty person can be on base for 2, 3, 4 years maybe. It takes a long time to develop trust and help your peers, your subordinates develop and groom them. And in an instant moment, that trust can be taken away. Something bad happened or whatever the case may be, trust can be no longer there. And then now it's time to rebuild that trust, rebuild that bridge. And within a 2 to 3 year time frame, it's kind of challenging to do that. Now you throw in another value to this. For example, let's say change supervision or supervisory positions. Then that kind of resets the clock to rebuild the trust, reestablish a relationship, and renegotiate all these things that somebody in the Guard would have 5-10 years to do. They don't have that time crunch. They don't have that pressure. In addition to that aspect of our culture, we have a disparity between military members and their respective civilian jobs. I, for example, have an engineering position, and my job is new, but my military career isn't. My military career, I'll be pursuing senior NCO to where I will have the responsibility and position to influence junior enlisted members with positive Air Force goals, values, and cultures and whatnot, to where my civilian job, I just started earlier this year, so I'm very new. I'm kind of at the airman first class level in my position. In contrast, I have a colleague of mine who, in the civilian sector, she owns her own business, so she has a lot of leadership values. On the civilian side, a lot of empowering values, a lot of business related go get 'em attitude. In the Guard, not so much. She reports to somebody else and she has to do as she's told when that's something that's not really her thing as a civilian. But now as a military member, when she puts on the uniform that 1 week in a month or 2 weeks a year, she has to listen to somebody else. She has somebody to report to. So I think those are the big differences in the Air National Guard. I'm an optimistic by nature. So when I think about the impacts that our culture has, I try to look at all the positive aspects that we can look at and learn from. There's a few negatives here and there, but for the most part, I try to be an optimistic kind of guy, silver lining per se. And it's one situation where there's 2 different teams that deployed to Middle East a couple years ago. I was on the first team, and our mission is a space control mission, so we took it over from the active duty guys. We dispel a lot of stereotypes a lot of rumors, a lot of biases that active duty has towards guard. And within that 1 week of boots to ground, we showed them what we're made of. We are a bunch of, like I said, nurses, off-duty cops, engineers, business owners. We're not active duty military mentality all the time. We have to kind of change it in our head when we wear a uniform. So when we got down range, we showed the active duty what we're made out of. I don't want to say that we outperformed them, but at the same time, like I said, we dispelled a lot of myths and biases. That made a huge impact on the team because it gave them a yes, we can do it, or yes, we are good at our nurse's job as we are at our space control mission. So they're patting themselves on the back for a long time, as they should, and we all should, being part of the guard. On the flip side, there's another tricky aspect as part of being a guardsman. For example, we have that same high school student who graduated high school, joined the guard, went to basic training, went to Space 100 tech school for us, ALS, NCOA, and all that fun stuff. They've paid their dues, they've done what they needed to do, and in leadership position, they are the rock stars of that squadron, that unit. They've done everything they needed to do. They've completed all their milestones ahead of schedule. And then we have an active duty person who is just as good, who for whatever reason decided to get out of active duty, comes to the guard, and now we have two rock stars. We have this one rock star NCO on paper who just left active duty, and then we have this one other local hero rock star per se. He's the kid who's been groomed from the day he raised his right hand and swore an oath to our country, or to our state, and to our unit. So here's this wrench in the promotion system per se. Let's say this NCO came in at the time of promotion times. So now the commander or the promotion board has a bigger challenge compared to that one kid, compared to having that one kid only without the NCO, active duty NCO coming into play. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but at the same time, in the end, there's going to be one promoted and one not, and it's either going to be a result of, oh, it was favoritism because he's a guardsman, or we have this development of animosity if the active duty NCO comes in because this kid has paid his dues and done his time with the unit, and all of a sudden somebody else is getting chosen over him. So that's where I think one of the negative aspects comes into play with the guard culture. The importance of maintaining a healthy organizational culture is like a domino effect. We've all seen those memes on the internet, whether they're comical or whatnot, but I prefer to look at the inspirational ones. And one of the ones that comes to mind right now is nothing will kill a great employee faster than watching you tolerate a bad one. And we've all seen it in the military. We've been in long enough. We have some people who can get away with murder in the squadron, and others who are forever walking on eggshells. If we have a rock star of an airman who sees somebody else get away with something that he or she may or may not have gotten away with, that tends to leave a bad taste in their mouth. So that will easily kill morale. Now let's add a popularity to this kid. Let's say this kid was popular and his morale got killed. Everybody else that looked up to him just followed suit like a domino effect. So the importance of maintaining that healthy culture, that healthy environment, is to keep everybody in check, have them all held to the same standards, values, and belief. If you're gonna believe in a system or in a value, believe it consistently across the board or not at all, because all it takes is that one person to have their motivation killed, and it's gonna run like a wildfire throughout the unit, and that can easily kill morale, degrade everything else. As a future senior NCO, it is my honor to educate the junior enlisted with what we have learned and reviewed, helping them understand their part in the mission, their part in the culture, and how to view our culture as a positive aspect, not negative. There's a lot of comparison between active duty, reserves, guard, and whatnot that may not always be accurate, but at the same time may be construed as negative for the members. In addition, I like to empower them with what they need to know, with values and beliefs, with these assumptions, and explain to them what's the best route to take, what's the best path to take, and inform them of consequences if those paths aren't taken the way they should. I like to have a good mentor-manager balance. You can be a mentor or you can be a manager. As long as I mentor more than I manage, I won't have to reprimand my troops as much as I would have if I didn't mentor them as much. So there's always that good mentor-manager balance I like to keep.